Yeah. Good day, Chief here. Today, I thought of over and out, but it got me to thinking. Yeah, a warrant officer thinking. But still, I'm going to get to over and out, because over and out, of course, thanks to Hollywood, is an expression that you hear, but we in the armed forces, especially the Army, we're taught you never say those two in conjunction with one another in a single sentence. But I'll get to that. When I first went to basic training, there's kind of an unwritten rule that is being enforced in our heads that we don't realize is happening. And now that I'm older and wiser, as they say, it dawned on me, wow, they embedded something in our brain that they didn't have to put in a book. What I'm talking about is the 3 to 5 second rule. When we first started rifle training and went to various ranges, and we were being taught how to go from one position to another position by either in a hostile or a non-hostile environment, is to do the 3 to 5 second rush. Because you want to get in your position, look around, see anything, and your battle buddy, he may be coming up behind or going to his new position after you've already gone to yours, and you're covering him, and then he'll cover you. So you're looking for a tree trunk, a huge rock, a depression, maybe the slope of an embankment or a slight rise in your favor, so that way you can peek over, even though you're not supposed to peek over things, but if that's the best you can do, that's what you're going to do. And you do it so you can get there to 3 to 5 seconds. So that's movement, either under fire or, like I said, in a hostile or not a hostile environment. And then, of course, we go to the grenade range. Well, we get there and we are taught, I have a dummy grenade, but I don't know where it's at. I have an old pineapple from World War II. So we are taught to put the spoon, as it's called, of the hand grenade. Of course, the hand grenade's round, so the spoon is resting against your thumb, and then you pull the pin out, because that's how it's designed. Because if you turn it otherwise, then you're going to be pulling the pin every other direction. So you pull the pin out, and now when you toss, throw, drop, or whatever your situation calls for, we are told, once you toss, drop, throw, that spoon flies off, and again, the 3 to 5 second rule applies. Because you didn't make that fuse. You don't know how fast that fuse is going to burn to detonate that hand grenade. So we're taught, after 3 to 5 seconds, if you don't hear a boom, and we're talking, it makes like a kaboom sound, so to speak. Not like in Hollywood where you toss a hand grenade and all of a sudden you got this huge fireball and bodies are flying every which direction. No, a hand grenade is meant to basically wound an individual. Yes, it will kill if you put enough of the tiny shards that our grenades are designed to make, all these little tiny shards that go through your uniform and into your body and cause you excruciating pain to where you're no longer combat effective. And then, of course, we receive radio training. This is where the over and out kicks in. Again, if you're transmitting on a radio, you want to do, at least back in the early days of my military career, because we didn't have the frequency hopping radios at that time. So you're on a single frequency back in those days. So you want to make your transmission short and sweet, 3 to 5 seconds. So let's say you've got a paragraph to read, like an enemy position or whatever, that requires several sentences to say. So you want to say a sentence at a time. So you'll key the microphone, the frequency's running now, and you're going to go blah, blah, blah over, and then you're going to unkey the mic that lets, when you say over, that lets the guys that you're sending it to know that you were done with that sentence, so they can make probably scribbles to correct their other scribbles, because they probably wrote it in haste, and they're probably checking with somebody else to see, hey, did I get these numbers correct? Did you get the same? So, and then you can do your second sentence, key the mic, say your sentence, over, unkey the mic. So again, the 3 to 5 second rule applies to our move, scoot, repeat, and tossing, throwing hand grenades, and now to our radio transmissions. So I went to NTC twice as an enlisted. The second time I went, I was sitting in the TOC, the Tactical Operations Center, and a captain from some other unit saw my radio inside at the desk I was sitting at, and he said, "Sergeant, may I borrow your radio? It won't be long." I go, "Yes, sir, I'm not needing it right now." So he plays with it. He gets on the frequency that he wants to get on to call whoever he wants to call. Well, yeah, this wonderful captain, oh, what can I get? I don't have nothing. I should have grabbed something. So he grabs the handset, as it's called, keys the mic, blah, 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 over. Does not unkey the mic. He waits 3 to 5 seconds, again, between transmissions, blah, 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 over. Does not unkey the mic. And I'm watching this, and another soldier's watching this, and we're both like, does the captain not realize he's supposed to unkey the mic in between transmission? Because basically you are transmitting, even though you're not saying anything, you are transmitting your frequency over the airwaves. Thunder. So he gets done, and I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "You're supposed to unkey the mic between your sentences." He says, "No, you don't, Sergeant." He says, "When you say over, the radio knows you're done talking, and then when you start to speak, it knows to send that." We don't have AI radios. We don't have radios that understand the word over to let them know that they're not supposed to be transmitting that signal. And then when you start speaking again, it instantaneously is going to say, "Oh, I need to send this." Of course, I couldn't back talk to a captain back then. I could as a warrant officer. Yeah. So he left. I looked at the soldier. The soldier looked at me, and we're like, "Guy's an idiot. You're supposed to unkey the mic between sentences," because back then you could sit there and grab that key and hold it, and then you may be done transmitting, and then you could be a nonchalant officer. I don't know if that's the right word to use right now, but you're not aware of your surroundings, and all of a sudden you may put the radio over your shoulder, you may put it down towards your chest, and then you continue talking. Even though you're not talking directly into it, it's still receiving your voice. And then all of a sudden someone could be on that frequency and go, hot mic, and that means somebody is still holding the key down. And whether they hear it or not, hopefully they hear it, then they realize, oh, I still got the key down. And you're giving your position away, because we all know with GPS, oh, your signal's coming from this location. Of course, back then we didn't have GPS like we do nowadays, where we can put you almost, 5 feet, 1 foot from where you're supposed to be. I don't know what the GPS is now. So, yeah. So, again, getting back to radios, that same exercise, being an enlisted member again, one of my captains handed me our handset. He goes, "Sergeant, I want you to keep keying this mic." And I go, "Why, sir?" He says, "Well, because there's somebody talking, giving away the battle plans." Remember, we're not at war, we're at NTC where we're training, but we train as we fight. So this officer that I was listening to and interrupting him, because if more than one handset on a net can interrupt somebody else. at least back then. So he would be, we're going to attack at midnight, and I'd be click, 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 click. And that's what they called stepping on him. And that's interrupting his transmissions. So he doesn't know if his transmission is getting received to whoever he wants to talk to. And I just kept doing that, and he was getting mad. Now, we're also taught in the military we have to follow the FCC, the Federal Communications and Commerce. I don't know what it is, FCC. So therefore we can't curse, we can't tell raunchy stories, we can't tell bad sensitive jokes, because somebody could pick that up and say, oh, here's what I listened to and I recorded this. You need to track down this individual. So yeah, we still got to follow, especially within the parameters of the United States, we still got to follow standard radio operating procedures, at least back then when you couldn't curse over the radio and stuff like that, like some stations do nowadays. They finally relaxed that rule a little bit, but then again, did they need to? No, they didn't. They shouldn't. I don't pay respect to people that curse. If you got to talk to me and to tell me something and you got to start using curse words at me, I stop listening to you. I'll start looking around, and then they'll be like, what are you looking at? Oh, you want to talk normal again? And they're like, what do you mean I want to talk normal? I said, you were cursing, so I shut off. So that's it for over and out. And 2 crazy stories from the same rotation out to NTC. And of course now we got frequency hopping radios, we got all kinds of stuff. Probably don't even have to worry about, but you still got to have secure nets, so to speak, if you're going to talk at least classified, not like that officer did. Like I said, we train as we fight, so if you don't follow standard procedure at an exercise, are you going to lax when you're at war for reals? So this is Chief out, still trying to come up with subjects every week. Just out of this one like a couple days ago. So, Chief out. Remember, freedom's not free.